Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us. You've reached the Fanatics of Film. My name is Ben.
And I am, damn, what is my name? I know I got it on my belt buckle here. Nope, I don't.
Hey, thanks so much for joining us. We're just going to quickly do our Walking Dead. Joe and I, our schedules have been a little crazy, just getting out of October here.
Yeah.
And we're just trying to jump back into our Walking Dead reviews. We usually are on top of it, but we're going to just quickly go over some recap things and try to do this in the shortest amount of time possible.
Well, October was a crazy time this year for me, so...
Yeah. I mean, so what did you do? Just in a nutshell, what did you? I mean, you went to a movie almost every night.
Well, if I didn't go to a movie almost every night, I went. So I did see a lot of movies, most horror, not all. There were a couple that we reviewed during the month that weren't horror films. But I mean, like Halloween, and went and saw Night of the Living Dead on the big screen. We saw Ghostbusters on Halloween on the big screen. The 1984 classic original. Venom, I saw Phantasm, remastered on the big screen. But I tried to watch at least one horror movie a day.
And that's Joe's devotion to the month of October. He excels at that and is proud of his devotion to the genre of horror films. So, just quick recap on episode 3, warning signs. Justin, our new found kind of adversary. He's like literally the adversary for one episode. There's a moment where he's a potential threat and gets in a real big skirmish with Daryl. You see him rise up. He's become a walker. He's been killed by, people are thinking of the Whisperers. Remember?
We haven't seen them yet.
So the Whisperers are in the graphic novel. We haven't seen them yet. They're obviously going to be a new group. So we find out that the Oceanside women who have been killing the Saviors. Mm-hmm. This is understandable because they took everything from them. So I completely understand that because they've lost everything. They're, all the men that were with them are dead, etc. Maggie is confronted with the two women fighting because of the past experience that occurred with Negan, and they have to say no exceptions.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just everybody just kind of... Nobody seems to be better than anybody in this show anymore. Everybody's just eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. They've gone all biblical.
They're all crawling on top of each other as they're crawling and falling down, crawling on top of each other, crawling down and falling down. So the no exceptions was what Negan had said before he killed Glenn, and so this triggered Maggie into thinking that she needs to go kill Negan because this is a living thing in her. So who said no exceptions first?
Well, I think that's Negan's policy.
Right, but then who else said it after that?
The girl that was slain by the Oceanside, the one who killed her brother, who was begging Maggie, like, no, this isn't right, and we're different now, we're not those people. And Maggie and Daryl turned their back and let him, kill him because of that very theme right there of just... no exceptions, Yeah. So.
Yeah, but it's just these certain phrases, these things that return that kind of trigger people back into kind of being the worst of themselves or the best of themselves. And so so this sparked a desire to go after Negan because it brings back those old feelings. These are just my notes that I wrote down. Rick and Michonne and Judith's happy family day. There's a symbolism with the tomato here. This really interesting moment with the tomato because at the very beginning of this episode, you have Jed takes a bite out of the tomato when he's in his confrontation set up with Maggie, and so he's like, Anyway, that's the tomato, at least from what people say here, is it symbolic of the world that Rick's built, and he puts the tomato on Carl's grave, saying, this is kind of symbolic of the new world that they're building, the new society that they're trying to create. And so this is interesting, seeing by the end of this episode, we have one of the Saviors step and crush on it, and Rick sees the tomato being destroyed. So Riz Koiro, he was in Entourage. No, not that I had fun with Entourage. I know that it's overrated in some respects, but his character was fun.
I watched it until Ari got fired, and then after that, I just
yeah.
Never went back.
Yeah. And then okay, so at the very end of this episode, we see Jadis, and of course, my favorite character of in the last like 3 seasons has been Gabriel. And I love this guy, man. Oh my gosh, I think he's just the greatest. He's the one guy, like you said, no one seems good anymore. He's the one that I feel like still has some good.
Well, he still has a moral compass, but it's based on his moral compass is because of his faith. Yeah, no, I mean, I think Gabriel's an interesting character. I like him. There are some other characters on this show that drive me crazy now that I wish they would die instead of others that have been killed off. Like, why couldn't you just kill Eugene and keep Glenn? I would gladly trade 10 Eugenes for one Glenn any day. That's
the next thing I'm going to get to. I'm going to get to on the next episode. I'm going to ask you about what you think of Eugene. But anyway, before we get back to, so Jadis knows some people with the helicopters.
Yeah.
She's got this big A and B type of person that she has to use for trading. What is she trading it for? What is she gaining from this? I guess we're going to find out hopefully in the next one. And she says specifically right to Gabriel, we can have a life that you can't imagine. So obviously there's a better situation that's waiting for Jadis. She feels like she can acquire this by acquiring people and using them for bargaining chips or whatever.
Yeah. So that's kind of interesting, too, because clearly she cares about Gabriel. Even when she ends up, when he refuses the offer, and you can tell that when she does what she does to him, she's not overly happy about it, and she still wants to give him a chance to change his mind, But that's in the next episode. It was a good way to end the episode, I think.
Yeah, it was cool. Anyway, thanks so much for joining us. Join us for the next one. We're going to get right into episode 4, The Obliged. Have a splendid day.